This is Father Andrew Ritchie, and you're listening to Catholic Inspiration, a podcast from my website at studyprayserve.com. These homilies, presentations, and retreats form part of my ministry as a Catholic priest for the Diocese of Superior. And now I invite you to open your hearts to some Catholic inspiration. Today is Monday of the 17th week of the year. Our gospel reading is Matthew, chapter 13, verses 31 to 35. Jesus proposed a parable to the crowds. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that a person took and sowed in a field. It is the smallest of all the seeds, yet when full grown, it is the largest of plants. It becomes a large bush, and the birds of the sky come and dwell in its branches. He spoke to them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed with 3 measures of wheat flour until the whole batch was leavened. All these things Jesus spoke to the crowds in parables. He spoke to them only in parables to fulfill what had been said through the prophet, "I will open my mouth in parables. I will announce what has lain hidden from the foundation of the world." Now, this gospel passage sounds just a little bit familiar. We heard it about 8 days ago on the 16th Sunday of the year, back on July 19th. There was a larger passage. We had more to this particular passage at the time. But here we have these 2 parables, mustard seed and yeast. And let me cut to the chase. Here's the spiritual principle. Start small. Let me say that again. Start small. In other words, don't bite off more than you can chew. The kingdom of heaven is incredibly patient and believes in slow growth over time. So start small. The spiritual insight that we have to hold on to here is, sometimes the hardest part about a job, it's getting started. We think, I've got all this work to do. Where do I even begin? And we get paralyzed. Start small, but start. The kingdom of heaven. A mustard seed, stick it in the ground. A little bit of yeast, stick it in the dough. Let it work over time. Don't be in a hurry. Be patient. Be steady. Be consistent. And start small. In order for this to happen, then, we do have to kick it into gear. But we have to start with an understanding that if God is going to be patient with us, then let's begin, and let's begin somewhere that will be fruitful. Somewhere that we know this will help. Somewhere where we say, okay, Lord, I have a prompting in my heart. I've been praying about this, or I know that this is the right way to go. Lord, help me to begin, but to start small. Maybe that's our prayer life, or someone gets all excited. Yeah, I'm going to pray. And then they know that they can't sustain a level of prayer because life gets busy or complicated or filled with distractions. Fine, start small. A little bit of prayer every day is 10,000 times better than no prayer at all. And if someone says, I'm going to get physically in shape, but I don't have 2 hours every day that I can give to work out in the gym, and don't try that. That's not practical for many people. Start small. Start with 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of daily exercise, but be consistent. Do a little bit each day and see how health will improve. Someone says, well, I want to get my diet in order. Fine, start small. Do little changes that are manageable, that are achievable, but start somewhere in little ways that over time lead to big changes. Now, whether we're talking about spiritual life, whether we're talking about physical life, let's talk about eternal life. My friends, we are in this journey for the long haul. And as we look at how we're doing on our pilgrimage through this life, if there are things that we see that need to be adjusted, need to be changed, fine, pick something, but start small. And in doing so, say, all right, Lord, I know what direction I need to go. Help me to make the little changes today so I can keep making those changes tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Because I know, Lord, that if I begin to make little adjustments over time, they lead to significant results. We see this in prayer We see this in service. We see this in our study of the faith. Maybe there's something on your heart today, a prompting that you go, I really want to grow here. I want to deepen my faith in this area. Great. Pick a achievable amount of time with an achievable amount of consistent effort and start small. But start with an understanding that, Lord, I ask that you guide me and lead me and keep me on the right path. And Lord, help me to remain consistent, steadfast, so I can carry out this particular task and grow closer to you. A mustard seed, a little bit of yeast, over time makes a substantial adjustment and improvement and growth and change. The same is true for us if we start small. God bless you all. This is Father Andrew Ritchie, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of Catholic Inspiration. These homilies, podcasts, presentations, and retreats are part of my ministry. And folks, if you found it helpful, please feel free to share my podcast with someone you know and love in the hopes that it will help them in their journey of faith. And you can help me if you just go back to your podcast engine and write me a rating and a review. I keep all my listeners in my daily prayers, and I ask that you remember me and yours as well. God bless you, my friends.